It is 35 minutes past the hour. This is Tim Ridley on Sirius XM 146. Tyler Labarge is with us. He is the president and CEO of U.S. Truck Driver Training Center in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Tyler, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right, man. I got my coffee here. The early riser mentality going on, so I'm ready to chat.
Well, that's great. That's just what we're going to do here. And first of all, thank you and your staff, your team for what you do and educating new drivers, getting new drivers prepared to come out here in the wonderful world of trucking. But you are a second generation president and owner of USTDTS. So you have an interesting story because a lot of times people will think that, well, he's the president of the school and he doesn't know what hard work is all about. But you actually started out washing trucks and changing tires, all while going to college. So tell us a little bit about that and how you got started. I know you had an interest, but how you got that interest in this.
Well, my father was in this business, back before we even started this school. He worked for another trucking school since 1984. I mean, that's the year I was born. So I've been around it all my life. So, when he started his own school, I was always, up there checking things out, being around the trucks. And, eventually, started working there in the summertime between going to school, and I got my CDL license when I was 18. It was, it was an experience. I always liked being behind the wheel and, hanging around the instructors and learning everything that I could. So, I don't know. I just couldn't think of doing anything any other way. So that's how it went. That's how it started.
Yeah. And your dad started you out the right way, too, in terms of, washing the trucks and getting your hands dirty, so to speak. And you went to school and after graduating in 2007, you began working full time as the institution's vice president. But you were in charge. You were tasked with a major project at that time. And I don't know, were you, and we'll get into that project, but were you a little bit nervous in overtaking that, or did you just kind of jump right into it?
In 2018, when, the economy went down and, funding sources were scarce, it was, kind of a project brought on by necessity. And, on my end, I just, I said, well, what do we need to do to protect ourselves? What regulations are in place that can help the institution thrive or separate us from the pack? And, we spoke about accreditation. I did some research about the Council on Occupation Education and went to a conference, got our candidacy status, and I mean, the rest is history. It was difficult. I mean, and it still is difficult to maintain accreditation and all those compliance standards, but It's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. That is no easy task. Once an institution overcome that hurdle to be able to do that, get that accreditation, that's a lot right there. So that's something to be honored for, as a matter of fact, because as you mentioned, it's not easy. And then not only that, but you have to be able to maintain it and keep it. Well, as far as, you another thing that you did is marketing strategies to digital media, including leveraging social media channels and things like that. And that made me think about how much time has changed over the years. Times have changed rather over the years, Tyler, because, I worked at a truck driving school in the 90s, early 90s, and there was no such thing as social media or the internet platform and advertising and marketing and anything like that. We we had people, we had guys that would go out and they would go into the rural areas and put up, and they would ask they would stop at these little stores and ask the owner of the store if it's okay to put we call them take one tickets, on their counter.
Yeah.
You
Rip the number
know
off.
what I'm talking about? And that was our way, that was our way of advertising, of marketing, but times, things have come a long way. So that gets us into the digital platform. You pretty much, I think you had a hands-on thing with that as well, didn't you?
I did. As far as social media goes, it's a really powerful tool for transparency. And if you're comfortable being transparent and you build a community around your students, you build a community around your faculty and your staff, then you get to show off what you do best. And, I think social media can be a great thing for institutions and businesses that want to do the right thing and want to include their community and want to be transparent. But it can also hurt those businesses that maybe are participating in, shady deals.
Yeah.
So, it depends on what way you want to go with it. And I mean, for here, our instructors get so involved with our students. They build these relationships. They like to be featured on, graduation pictures and, time spent on campus. We celebrate birthdays here. We celebrate anniversaries here. We celebrate major milestones, and we just try to give people a good feel for what it's like to be on campus, right? We also use social media to leverage our lunch and learn programs that we have with all of our partner carriers. So, here's who's going to be here today. We're going to be streaming it. Here's the link. If you want to hear about this company, jump online, or you can come to the school. And, oh, by the way, if you want to apply, here's how you apply. So, we really just try and make it easy for the students and for our graduates to be part of our community.
I'm listening to all of this and I'm just blown away, and just again going back to the early 90s of our platform, and it was nothing like what you just mentioned. In terms of the students, again, over the years, when I first started teaching, the students knew that they were going to have to go long distance and pay their dues in the industry before they could do anything else. And that was the mindset. But I know, as I was promoted to, different positions up in management and so forth, and I started noticing how the students, towards my later days in the working at a truck driving school, notice how their mindset has shifted to an extent. The newer students that were coming in, whereas they didn't want to go out and be long distance. They didn't want to have to go out and pay their dues. They wanted to come right out of school and land a local job because they wanted to be home, have that work-life balance. Now, fast forward to today's time with you. Did you see that same shift from when you first started, or even when you were washing trucks, to today, where the students' needs are different than what they were once before?
I did, Tim. It's, it started out, again, when I was washing trucks, it was, come on in, get your license, you're going over the road. You're going regional, maybe they get a dedicated route, but it was just like you said, it was pay your dues. And they came in with the mentality that that's what trucking life was. That's what they had to do, and they had to get their experience, and they could transition into, a local or, a home every other day dedicated route. There was a whole shtick behind it, It was like, this
Right,
is it. This
right.
is the path. And then over the years, it slowly became but I want to do local. I want to be home every night. And we're like, yeah, but that's not the way that it works. You got to do it this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as more and more students came in doing that, as an institution, you want to try and meet that demand. So,
right.
You start meeting with local carriers, hey, what do we got to do to build a relationship to make this work? How about we, pick out the students with the best grades and, you give them a try and see how that works. And, one student leads into 2 and then 4 and 6 and so on. And it grows. And now today I've got just as many local carriers that'll hire graduates right out of school as I do regional and over the road companies. So, I don't know if it's like that all across the country because obviously we're here in Michigan. But for us, with our local carriers and partnerships, we got great relationships. We see each other on a weekly basis. We talk almost daily. And, part of being an accredited school, we have our institutional and occupational advisory committees. So they sit on our committees. They review our curriculum. They make sure that we talk about FMCSA regulation and training techniques and what needs to be added to the curriculum, or how can we reshape it to make sure that we're meeting the demands of our employment partnerships. So I guess the closer you work and you pay attention to the feedback from the students of the companies that they go to work for, because ultimately that's a reflection of the service that you offer, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are you going to let hire your graduates, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's great that you have just as many local companies as you do regional and OTR. And again, that says a lot about your school as well, and that says a lot about your students, your graduates too. Tyler, we're going to pull over and take us a quick break, but when we come back, let's shift gears a little bit and go to because you really had to adapt you had to do some changes, probably had to have some quick meetings and put your brains together to figure out how to get through the pandemic during that time when we were pretty much shut down. So let's get into that, what your school did to accommodate. We'll be back in just a little bit. Tyler LaBarge is with us. He is the CEO and president and CEO of U.S. Truck Driver Training School in Michigan. This is Tim Ridley on Sirius XM.
The mission of the St. Christopher Fund is to help professional drivers and their families who have financial needs due to medical problems. Assistance may be in the form of direct payment for medical services or prescription drugs, assistance with expenses while recovering, or negotiating price reductions with medical providers and hospitals. If you or someone you know is in need of help due to an illness, or perhaps if you would like to make a donation, donate today at truckersfund.org.
My mind's grinding like a steel gear, baby. I've got to cover some ground.
Truck drivers have worked hard over this past year to keep America moving, and that's why Acuity Insurance is announcing their annual contest to celebrate National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. Acuity wants to recognize truck drivers and those who have supported drivers for going above and beyond during the past year. There are $10,000 in cash prizes, so to submit an essay for a chance to win, please visit acuity.com/contest. No purchase necessary. That's acuity.com/contest. Acuity Insurance, focused on truckers.
If you need a little loving, call on me. And if you want a little hugging, call on me, baby.
Tyler LaBarge is with us, president and CEO of the U.S. Truck Driver Training School in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Tyler, in March of last year, your school you faced a huge challenge, and probably I would say maybe your biggest challenge to date. So surviving the pandemic, you had some changes to make, and had those changes to make pretty quickly. So tell us what you did and how you were able to continue to maintain.
Well, the biggest thing that we did was communication. Communication with our staff, communication with our faculty and our students. Giving them insight into, okay, we see this pandemic coming from the other side of the world. It was almost felt like a wave that was just coming at us, knocking down countries as it rolled towards us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you take that information and you say, okay, if it comes here and we're forced to do this, this is what it's going to look like. This is how we're going to communicate it to you. So, our staff was pre-prepped. They got to see what was coming ahead of time. And like you said before, lots of meetings, lots of brains. Like we all, got together, we made decisions together. We talked about, different plans and implementation pieces to make that happen. And, we decided together as a team, hey, these are the amount of resources that we have. If we try to stay open and fight through this thing and it doesn't work out, this is the projection. This is how much time we have. This is how many weeks we have. So, collectively, we made the decision to shut down temporarily for, I think it was 7 weeks. And in that time, myself and our institution's vice president, we worked every single day to, gather all the PPE that we needed. We weren't ready. It happened so fast. So, we gathered the PPE. We put together a safety plan. We researched different online streaming platforms, and we tested those platforms while we were shut down by communicating with our students and saying, hey, here's a link, jump on here, let us know what you think, give us your feedback, what could we do better? And so we use that as kind of this is a free opportunity just to, refresh your knowledge, refresh your skills. Unfortunately, we can't do hands-on training, but we can try and keep you entertained while you sit on the bench and wait. And, we got all the resources, from a financial perspective, from a technological perspective, and then from a safety perspective. And we brought all of our staff back. We had a week where no students were on campus. It was just professional development. Hey, here's your job. Here's the new protocols. Here's all the new technology we got. Let's learn how to use it. Let's learn how to execute it. Then we brought all of our students back. There was 165 of them that either were waiting to test, or in the training process of some sort. And we retrained all of them from the ground up and waited to start front loading and bringing more students in, because there was a lot of them calling while we were shut down. Hey, I need to be essential. My job shut down. I heard truck driving's still something that I can do to make money,
Mm-hmm.
And, we eventually got those people in, but ultimately the success piece, I think, was how we transitioned, a good chunk of our curriculum online, pre-trip inspection videos, FMCSA regs, map reading, trip planning, hours of service. We were able to, stream that information. We shrunk down our groups for hands-on training to appointment-only basis. That way there we could segment the population. So in case somebody did come down with COVID, you could do really fast contract tracing and, contain the issue without having to shut down. So limiting all those touch points. Furthermore, we partnered with a local urgent care where people would do a screener before they came in. We have it looks like a metal detector, but it's a thermal temperature scanner. Scan their temperature, then you get issued a bracelet. If you don't have a bracelet, you can't come on campus. And it was a daily, bracelet, Monday through Sunday. And, all those changes that we made, the feedback that we got from the students is, we enjoy this more. This gives us more flexibility. This gives us, time to study at home. I can re-access the content that I may have forgotten while I was there during the day. And so positions changed, roles changed, and actually opportunity came about from almost an entire business model adjustment. So
Yeah.
it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, but you survived and did things. You got together, you and your team, you got together and came up with a game plan and you executed it and made it happen. We just have a couple of minutes left, but you have various programs at your school. Professional tractor trailer training program. You have the entry level tractor trailer training program. You have the Class A CDL refresher courses, the 40-hour Class B CDL courses, and you have other courses as well. And tell us how we can find you on the web.
You can reach us at ustdts.edu. So that's just an acronym for U.S. Truck Driver Training School. And you can visit us online. You can check out our programs, and you can give us a call. We're here.
And also, another thing I like, too, on your website, you can take a tour of the campus as well. An awesome school, and you have a lot to offer as well, and you do some intense training, too. That's what I really, really like about that. You guys are preparing these drivers to get out there on the road to become professional drivers. Tyler, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Say hello to Todd for me. He's your classroom program manager, and I can tell he really, really loves the school. So say hello to him for me, and thanks again for joining us.
He's listening now, so thanks, man.
All right, you guys have a great day now.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, it's been a great fellowship with each and every